G'day folks, it's the Maple Monkey here again with another video for you. This time we're going to continue our series of the showcase of the One Piece United fan-made content, the homebrew content that's being made out there. So, and this is going to be the second in our series of videos for that, where we're going to specifically look at the villains. So we've got 5 villains here, so that's a great number of villains, especially if you sort of consider a core set. I think normally has about 2 or 3, or possibly 4 in the case of the X-Men one, I think. So this is quite a lot of villain content coming your way from the One Piece fan-made stuff. So just a quick note before we get into it. We did have a competition, or I had a competition running in the last video, and that's continuing through this one, so I'll put a link to that competition. So if you like these models, not these particular ones here, but this style here, these models, I've got a few spares of these that I've put up for you could basically win in the competition there. So I'll be paying all the postage and that sort of thing, even if it's international, so don't worry about that. But if that sounds like something you'd like to win, you can jump on. I think there's a link to a Google form, so you can jump on that and check it out. Anyway, let's get down and have a look at these villains. Okay, so first up we have Buggy the Clown. He was one of the early villains that the Straw Hats encountered, and this is a design by xnellynelx on the Marvel United Discord, and quite a fun one to boot. So if we have a quick look here on the back, he does have some setup here, and that says place both Chop Chop tokens in Buggy's starting location, and you'll notice that he's got a superhero contingency there, super villain. So if you are playing the versus mode there, that super villain mode, you can play this, and xnellynelx has put some thought into that about what sort of tokens you might need to make that competitive. And the Chop Chop tokens here, we'll just have a look at these quickly. And everything here is just printed out, print and play, printed out on paper. And I do eventually hope to get some of these professionally sort of done up, and I've actually got some stuff on the way. So I've just done sort of like a test print run to see if the place that I've looked into is going to work, and also if I've worked out how to send that stuff through. But I'm interrupting poor old Buggy's limelight here. If we have a look at these tokens here now, I'm assuming this is how they sort of printed out when I just sort of printed them from the file. So I'm not sure if they're meant to be this big, but I tell you what, when they're this big, you don't forget that they're there, so that's quite cool. But the idea behind Buggy the Clown is he's eaten the Chop Chop devil fruit, which gives him special powers where he can basically split up different parts of his body and send them flying around. And so one of the things that he does is he sends his hands flying around and attacking people and causing all sorts of trouble. So that's essentially what he does in the game, is he sends these things flying around. So you start with these in his location at the beginning of the game. So we'll just put this here. Now, speaking of location as well, some of these some of these villains do have some locations as well, and I'll show you that down the track as well. There's not a specific location for Buggy, but I like to use, there's a particular one that xnellynelx has come up with, and I like to use that one because it's sort of thematically where I think the Straw Hats first fight him. So let's have a look here at we'll just pick this up a little bit. You can see there he's got a range of 5, 7 and 10 health depending on the player count, and then his special rules, we've got when a hero is KO'd, Buggy doesn't activate his BAM. Instead, he plays another master plan card face down in the storyline. So again, he's sort of just racing that clock out. And if we have a look here at his overflow, that's similar. If one or more civilians or thugs tokens can't be added to a location, play another master plan card face down in the storyline. Okay, so where all the theme comes in is his BAM here. So we've got each Chop Chop token, so you'll remember those from before. Each of these, and they start in his location, moves one location in the direction of the arrow on the token. So one goes clockwise and one goes counterclockwise. Then deal 1 damage to a hero in each location with the Chop Chop token. So they're basically flying around. It's as if you've got 2 villains chasing around after you, and the actual villain model himself, he doesn't actually do any damage when he lands on you. It's the actual Chop Chop tokens. Now, if both Chop Chop tokens are in the same location, deal 2 damage to a hero in that location instead. So if you get yourself caught when they join up as they go around the circle, around the outside, you take a big hit there because they both hit you. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. That's one of the great things about this the Buggy design. It's a pretty straightforward character, nice and simple. You know, it's got a twist there with the tokens there, but nothing too complicated messing you up there. Now we've got his threat deck here, so we'll have a look at those. Alright, so he's got these sets of cards here. So he's got 2 of these splitting human cards here. So these are the same. They both require 3 heroics to clear. And as long as Buggy is in this location, he can't be damaged. So essentially one of his powers with his ability to split up is the fact that if you try and cut him, he basically... cutting him in half doesn't really do anything because that's what his power lets him do anyway. So he's quite hard to take down. So he's got 2 of those. So if you don't deal with these, then these create safe spots for him to hang out in on the board. He's also got 2 of these ones here, which are the ground hugging Chop Chop. So this is where his hands sort of cause trouble rather than attacking you. So if there is a Chop Chop token in this location, heroes using movement to leave the location must use 2 movement instead. So he basically is delaying you there, causing some problems, and again requires 3 heroics to clear, and there are 2 of those. So that's another set of threat cards. And then the other, I guess it's like a set, there are 2 bad guys from his pirate crew here. So we've got, now apologies if I'm getting these mistaken, but I think it's Kabaji. Kabaji's coming in with 4. He's sort of like a Buggy the Clown's kind of henchman, a sort of circus themed. I guess this guy's on the unicycle, and he fancies himself a bit of a swordsman, and he fights against Zorro in the storyline there. But let's have a look here. He deals 1 damage to a hero in this location and 1 damage to a hero in each adjacent location. So he's one of those henchmen that can sort of like spread the damage out a little bit, and I guess that's meant to represent his speed on the unicycle there. But yeah, he's quite a nasty one there. It doesn't do a lot of damage, but he just creates that big sort of area of hazard, especially when you're also trying to dodge the Chop Chop tokens. So if we have a look here, Moji and Richie, here's some classic guys from early episodes. They only come in with 3 health, but let's have a look. They've got 2 damage when they bam to 1 hero in this location. Then Moji and Richie gain 1 health, but they can't go above their starting value. And I guess that's why it reflects a smaller health value, because they're going to sort of keep healing themselves up if they're hurting you. So you don't want to be too high a starting health there, I guess. So that's quite cool. So Richie's tearing strips off you, I guess. And then when Moji and Richie only have 1 health remaining, their BAM only deals 1 damage. They're sort of limping along there. All right, so yeah, they're quite a humorous couple of characters there in the story. So those are Buggy's threats, and now we'll have a look at his master plan. Alright, so if we have a look at his master plan cards, he's got some unique ones here. So he's got 2 of these. They do slightly differ in their token drops. These ones are dropping mostly thugs, and the other one is dropping mostly civilians there. But if we have a look, he's got a movement of 1 here. This is called Buggy Balls. Now he sort of fires these big sort of cannonballs or something like that in the show, which I think these are meant to represent, and deal 2 damage to all heroes in the location opposite of Buggy, and 1 damage to all heroes in locations adjacent to them. So this is that big sort of cannonball that he fires in the show. So that's quite nasty if he gets that off. So that's 2 of those. He's also got 2 of these. We'll just focus that. Chop Chop Cannon Separate. So he's moving 4 with this one, and these are identical. Move both Chop Chop tokens to the location with the most heroes. So if you thought you were sort of safe from them, they come hunting you down, and heroes choose. Heroes choose in a tie if there's 2 locations that have, I guess, an equal amount of heroes. Deal 2 damage to all heroes in the Chop Chop tokens location. So it's similar to when you get caught by the 2 Chop Chop tokens just generally, but it hits everybody. So yeah, dangerous. So those are his sort of big kapow cards, and then he's got a range of these ones here, which you can see there's a move 2 and a bam. They've got a range of different token drops here. So 2 and a bam, 2 and a bam. You've got 0 and a bam, 3 and a bam, 2 and a bam, 2, 3. So you get a bit of a sense for his spread of tokens and also spread of movement here as well. And that's his master plan deck. So yeah, Buggy the Clown, he's quite a fun one. I did just recently play him, not on camera, but just recently had a game against a bunch of the One Piece heroes, and he was a lot of fun. So hopefully, I'm looking at, once I've done these videos on the different One Piece characters, I'd like to sort of get into a series of games with the One Piece stuff, and I think I'll try and play them chronologically with the villains, and he'll be first up. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for Buggy the Clown. He's always causing trouble. And just to finish off our look at Buggy the Clown, these are just some locations that, again, they're not specifically tied to his mission, but these ones, I think, in the story all sort of relate to him a little bit. So Orangetown, I think, is the place that Luffy and the crew, or, you know, he's only got a couple of crew members at that stage, but this is where they think they first encounter him. So this one here is a hazardous location. All heroes in this location take a damage and discard all civilians in this location. Wow, so that's nasty. So this is if this is an end of turn effect if you've got this one uncovered, and this is sort of representing the fact that he's kind of taken over this town and causing terror there until you show up. We've got Kamate Island. Now I think this is related to him. I think I have a memory of like when some of the episodes kind of focus on where he goes off to in between some of the adventures. I think he ends up on this island, and it says here, if there are more thugs than heroes in this location, and you'll notice that they start with a bunch of thugs there, discard 1 card from your hand to the bottom of your deck. So basically the thugs are attacking you there. And now this one is quite a funny one as well. So this character here, he sort of befriends Luffy and the crew, but Buggy also turns up on his island at one point and befriends this guy as well. So it says, you may move your pet companion to this location. This is one we've seen earlier. I've featured this one on the channel before. The Island of Rare Animals, but I quite like that one. Not so useful unless you've got the pet companions out, but just a fun one anyway. So there are some other locations that xnellynelx has made based on the Logtown, I think it is, Logtown or Logtown, that you could also thematically sort of tie in with Buggy the Clown, but I won't feature those ones here. Alright, let's see who's next. And we have another xnellynelx design here. This is Captain Kuro. So he's another quite early character. He sort of comes into it, I believe, when we're sort of first meeting Usopp for the first time, and he's a sort of a major threat to the island that Usopp is on. So if we have a look here, on the reverse, he's got a little bit of special setup. Now this is less to do with tokens and more to do with a location. So if we have a look here, Kaio's mansion, or I think it's Kaya, sorry. Kaya's mansion must be the hero's starting location. So you start the heroes in Kaya's mansion. This location can't be replaced with another. So if you have any of those funky special effects that can replace locations, this one is very specific to the mission, so you need to keep it in play. And again, xnellynelx has thought of starting tokens as well that might be useful for this particular mission. So there's our Captain Kuro there. Alright, now I don't know if this guy's actually had any, I don't know if he's just a good fighter and more of a tactician. I don't think he's got not Chop Chop, I don't think he's got Devil Fruit powers, but it's been a while since I've sort of seen the episodes with him in it. So let's have a look at how he plays. Well, actually, before we do, let's have a look at Kaya's mansion. So if we have a look here, this is Kaya's mansion, and this one I believe you could use in any scenario, even though it's specific to this one as well. So it says, you may discard 1 card from your hand to the bottom of your deck. If you do, gain a wild token. So pretty, seems not pretty standard, but seems like it could be used in any scenario there. But you can, but this one is specific to this one, this mission. So there you go. That's that one there. So doesn't have anything really that ties into the scenario in and of itself, but let's just see how it goes. Thematically it does. Let's have a look here. So we've got the special rules. When a master plan card would add a civilian or thug, they are added to the villain's starting location, not the villain's current location. And this is all to do with the theme of this battle. When a hero is KO'd, Kuro doesn't activate his BAM, instead place one crisis token over a civilian or thug slot on Kaya's mansion. This slot is considered filled. Okay, now let's have a look. Where should we read first? Here we go. So the BAM. So deal 1 damage to each hero in Kuro's location. So his BAM is pretty simple. If he ends up in your location, he hits you. Okay. But over here at the overflow, if one or more civilians or thug tokens can't be added to a location, add them one location closer to Kaya's mansion. So you can see here when a master plan would add these thugs and civilians, they are added to the villain starting location, so opposite the Kaya's mansion, so on the other side of the board from it. But if you overflow in any locations, you place them one location closer to, and remember, it's going to be, you're always going to be overflowing from these sort of furthest points. They're going to be creeping closer to Kaya's mansion. When the villain's starting location overflows, so the villain starting location, the bottom of the master plan card will indicate the direction of the overflow. All right, because there's some quite different stuff going on here to the regular sequence of the game. And then we have here the villainous plot. When Kaya's mansion overflows, the villains lose. So they're really trying to just drive all of the thug and civilian tokens towards Kaya's mansion, and that's because in the show, essentially he's got this plan where he sends this big invading band of pirates running towards the mansion or to the town, and the Straw Hats sort of have to stop them. So that sort of represents this big wave of pirates sort of running in towards location you have to protect. So pretty cool, a really cool way to sort of thematically capture that and mechanically capture it as well. So let's start with the threat deck as well. All right, and I quite like these threats here. We've got 3 of the same threat here. We've got cat claws, so we'll just hold this up here. When a hero takes damage in this location, they take extra damage. So remember, he's moving around, attacking you sort of just for one hit, but this makes him quite dangerous because half of the locations are going to be making you take 2 damage each instead. So he's got 3 of those. They're all the same. Again, they require the 3 heroics to be cleared. And then we've got his henchmen as well. And these guys are quite a fun pirate band as well. We've got Django, who's quite has a funny sort of introduction. He keeps sort of walking backwards wherever he goes, doing the moonwalk. He's got 5 health to start with, and all heroes in this location must play their next card randomly. So I love that because he's just such a sort of a weird, random sort of character that's quite a fun effect there for him. And then we have here, these 2 are sort of a set. These are 2 sort of like companions, I guess. They sort of attack together in the show, and they're basically like kind of like cat people. So we've got Bucci. I can't remember how to pronounce these, but let's call him Bucci. He's got the 4 health here. He deals 2 damage to a hero in this location, and he's got a special rule down the bottom there. It says, as long as this threat is active, Sham ignores 1 damage every hero turn, and we'll see that there's a similar effect on the other card here. So speaking of Sham, here's Sham, I don't know if he's actually his brother, but his partner in crime here. He's got 3 health, and a hero in this location must discard an action token. And remember that Kaya's mansion, I think, deals out wild tokens, so this is a way to sort of counteract that, I guess. Deal 1 damage to each hero in this location if no token is discarded. And then he also has, as long as this threat is active, Bucci ignores 1 damage every hero turn, so they're a good tag team combo there. Alright, here are his special cards in his Master Plan deck. So we've got 2 of these. So this is called the Out of the Bag attack. So he moves 1 and deal 1 damage to all heroes in locations with thugs, and then discard all thugs in those locations. Okay, so that's a way to sort of give you, it sort of does a sort of devastating attack potentially, but also gives a bit of a release valve in the game to, you know, prevent you from sort of maybe getting to that overflow stage quite so quickly, but also robs you of some tokens that you might need to be collecting too. So that's at least how I read that. So there's 1 of these with the thugs, and then, like I said, they're a bit of a set. So there's the same card there, Out of the Bag attack, but this one refers to civilians. Okay, so that's those 2, and this one actually has a movement of, get that to focus there, movement of 2. Now we have another 2 that are also similar here, playing off the idea of civilians and thugs. So this one says, Kuro of 100 plans. Add 2 thugs, and you'll see the little movement there if they're overflowing, which direction to sort of overflow them in. Add 2 thugs to all locations with at least 1 hero in it. Until the next villain turn, all heroes must ignore 1 action symbol at the bottom of their hero cards. Yikes, and he's got 0 movement with that one. And then we've got the same effect here, I believe. He's got 2 movement, same effect though, but with civilians. So you can see, add 2 civilians to all locations with at least 1 hero in it. Until the next villain turn, all heroes must ignore 1 action symbol at the bottom of their hero cards. Yikes. Okay, so those are the special ones, and then even his basic Master Plan cards are a little bit special because they have this symbol down the bottom here. So they've got the movement and the bam. Sometimes, whoops, sometimes they don't bam. But you can see this idea that because he's not traveling around and placing them where he is, you just look at the villain starting location, you look at the number of tokens that come out, and it just tells you which way to send them. So they're either going to be traveling around the circle of that, the locations this way or this way, so anti-clockwise or clockwise. I think I got that right. Okay, so we've got thugs and civilians, we've got thugs, civilians, civilians, thugs, and civilians. There we go. So that gives you an idea of how he plays. So quite a different way. He changes up, like he's fairly simple in terms of there's not a lot of extra stuff going on with tokens or bits and pieces and stuff, but almost sort of like fundamentally changes how the token system and the overflowing system work, which is quite cool. So yeah, really interesting character there by xnellynelx. That's Kuro, and we'll just quickly have a look at 1 or 2. I think I've got at least 1 location that's similar to that. We'll just chuck that in here now. That's Syrup Village. So this is, I think, the village in general where Usopp comes from. It's just sort of generic location there. So you may rescue 1 civilian from any other location. So that could be actually tie in quite well with this particular mission, since you're wanting to remove tokens there. So that's quite cool. Not sure if Nelly's done that on purpose, but good job. All right, so let's have a look at the next villain. All right, here we have Arlong the Saw. Now this is actually was my first villain design. So this is actually one designed by myself, but all of the graphic, like basically this is all put together by Helios23. So I have to thank him for that. I don't know if I could have made it look as nice as this. So, but he's been training me up, so I'm getting close. I don't know if I'd say super close, but you know, I'm able to sort of put my own stuff together now. But he did a really nice job on this one for us. So thank you very much to Helios23. So we'll have a look and see if I've got a feeling that my designs don't really stack up to the other guys, but I'm trying my best here. So let's have a look. He's got some setup here at the back here. And Arlong, I chose Arlong because he really sort of made an impact on me at early on in the One Piece sort of series. They often have, especially early on, each of the sort of Straw Hat crew have have some really interesting backstory that they dig into, and they tend to have a big sort of nemesis that the crew helped them fight against. And Arlong was the one that was the big nemesis for Nami, and it was just a really big epic storyline that I really enjoyed. So I thought, yeah, let's give Arlong the villain Marvel United treatment. So let's check him out. So he's got some special setup here. So use Arlong Park as Arlong's starting location, and place a copy of the Fishman Pirate Territory threat card on Arlong Park. Okay, so you basically have to have that particular threat card on that location. You don't sort of randomly put them out in that sense. Then it says place 3 treasure tokens in each location except Arlong Park. So let's turn that around and let's have a look at some of that. Okay, so let's start off with this Arlong Park. What is it exactly? So it's a location. It's got 5 spots, 2 thugs there to start with, since it's like the home base of Arlong. It has some information here. So it's got a little thing on it here saying water location. So and this is a common thing throughout this this mission as well. So the idea of this water location, fishmen, heroes and villains, because we have at least one fishman that we currently have, which is Jinbei is a fishman as well. He's a hero. Ignore 1 damage here. So yeah, all the basically the villain and the hero Jinbei, they ignore a damage in this location. Then we have the end of turn effect. You may discard 1 card to the bottom of your deck to move 1 treasure token from this location to any other location, and that will be important as we go on with the explanation. So that's important to note. And like I mentioned, we do have to put a copy of the Fishman territory on that starting location. You don't randomize there. Let's have a look now at these treasure tokens as well. So Helios23 helped us find these great images here. So again, I haven't done these as proper tokens. I'd like to actually get them sort of done up properly. And I've just been using crisis tokens when I'm playtesting, but this is, if you do want to print this out, print and play, we do have these available for you to sort of print off, so they're quite cool for those treasure tokens. And again, you place, I think it was 3 of those on each location, except for Arlong Park at the beginning of the game. So let's see how he works. He's got, I think I forgot to show off the health for old Kuro before, apologies for that. I don't know if it was visible on the screen, but let's have a look at Arlong's here. So he's starting out with 6, 8, and 11, and let's check out how we're going here with this special rule. So fishmen, heroes and villains that occupy a water location ignore 1 damage each turn. So that doesn't just apply to Arlong Park, but there are other locations in the scenario that are going to be water locations as well that have that same rule. When an effect calls for a treasure token to be extorted, remove that token from the location and place it on Arlong Park. So essentially what's happening is Arlong is essentially sort of running rampant over the East Blue. He's using Arlong Park as a bit of an operation on the island that Nami grew up on, and he's basically just causing terror and running around, just sort of basically, you know, doing all sorts of crime and extortion on the poor folks, and taking their money and basically building up a big stack of treasure at his base. So that's what he's trying to do, is build up a bunch of treasure there. So if we skip down to the villainous plot, heroes lose if Arlong Park has 12 treasure tokens. So essentially he's running around taking treasure and putting it on his location. And if you sort of remember back to his location, there is an effect that if you can clear that location, you can then try and sort of at least be stealing some location back from him at risk to yourself. Let's have a look at his BAM. So deal 2 damage to 1 hero in Arlong's location, so he hits pretty hard. And if Arlong is in a water location, his damage cannot be cancelled. Okay. Because the fishermen are really powerful in the water, essentially. And he also, just as part of his BAM, he just automatically extorts 1 treasure token from his location. So his BAM is he deals a big strong hit in his location. If it happens to be a water location, it's very hard to cancel or cannot be cancelled, and he also extorts treasure. And if we have a look over at the overflow, if any civilian or thug can't be added to a location, extort 1 treasure token from that location. So not only is he going around taking the treasure, but you're also losing the treasure to overflows as well. If the location is Arlong Park, accelerate the next villain turn by 1 instead. So that gives an effect where you still want to be clearing his location as well. Alright, so let's have a look as well. I think we've flipped that one over, haven't we yet? We've already had a look at that. So let's dive into now these threat cards and see what we mean by these Fishman Pirate Territory cards as well. Alright, so speaking of Fishman Pirate Territory, there are three copies of this threat card, and one of them is going to automatically start on Arlong Park. It requires 3 heroics to clear, and it says thugs in this location require 2 punches to defeat. So essentially it makes that location very tough with the thugs, and this represents the big band of fishmen pirates that he's got in his home territory. While this threat is in play, this counts as a water location, and that just sort of represents the fact that the fishmen are basically using the sea, and they sort of basically set themselves up in places where they can really take advantage of being in the water and out fighting the humans there. So that's his sort of main environmental effect there. He's got 3 of those, and then he's got his band of head honcho sort of henchmen as well. So these are his top lieutenants. So we have Hachi, quite a cool character in the show. He comes in with 3 health here. He's got ignore 1 damage each hero turn. So this sort of represents the fact that wherever they are, they're supposed to be in a water location, because they don't travel around. They're sort of in their own water locations there, but they don't sort of make the location a water location. For anyone else, for Jinbei. Then we've got the BAM effect is deal 1 damage to each hero in this location. If there are any civilians in this location, extort 1 treasure here. So the henchmen are also extorting treasure. So you can't just ignore these guys, because they're going to be stealing treasure as well. So that's what they do when they BAM. And this represents the fact that he's got lots of arms, so he's basically attacking everyone in the location. That's his deal. All right, then we have Chu, and Chu can spit this water here. So his effect, he's got 3 health as well. He's dealing 1 damage to 1 hero in this and each adjacent location. So he's basically can do the ranged attack there. And again, he is extorting treasure from the civilians. And then he ignores 1 damage each hero turn. And then we have is it Karubi? I can never remember, but let's say Karubi. Karubi's the toughest of the 3, I guess. So he's got the 4 health there, and he deals 2 damage to one hero though, because he sort of goes for a straight up fight in the location. And same thing there, he's going to extort from the civilians, and he ignores 1 damage each turn. So that's the threat cards there. All right, let's have a look at the the threat cards, the master plan cards here. These are the special ones for Arlong. So he's got 2 of these. He's got the water shot, so no movement there. That's the same with both there. But deal a damage to 1 hero in Arlong's location, as well as the next 2 clockwise locations. And that's why there's a little reminder here. Even though he's not moving, the clockwise direction reminds you that he's sort of dealing damage in a clockwise direction there. And so we've got the same effect here, but going anti-clockwise with the water shot, or counterclockwise, going the other way there. So that's his long-range water shot attack there. Then he's also, let's have a look at his other attack card here. We've got Toothbrush. This is where he sort of takes his own teeth out and sort of attacks with them. Or his own jaw, I guess it is. Deal 1 damage to each hero in this location. So he's sort of doing a close combat attack there, and he actually moves, if you can see that, to the nearest location with the most heroes. So he's looking to deal as much damage as possible there, and those are the same cards there. So that's his attack cards, and then he's also got this one here, Intimidation. So he BAMs. So he's still dealing damage and that sort of thing, but he's also intimidating. Until the next villain turn, civilians require 2 heroics to rescue, just because they're so cowed by him that they refuse to cooperate with you, and he drops a bunch of tokens down there as well. And those two are identical as well, except for the movement there as well. Okay, so that's his special cards, and then we'll just have a quick look at the range of his other cards here. So he's got a move and a bam. He's got 2 move and a bam. Got different range of tokens he's dropping: 3, 3, 2, and 1. So that's old Arlong. Now, I did mention as well that some of these heroes or these villains would have a range of locations. This is another one that I didn't really design it specifically to be used with Arlong, but it sort of thematically ties in with him. So this is Belmir's house, which is Nami's like foster mum, I guess, her house. And so this is you can go here and basically sort of recover and rejuvenate yourself, so you can draw cards until you have 3 in your hand. So that's just something you might like to thematically put into the mission with Arlong. Then these ones I believe are all tied in with that storyline, at least from my memory. I'm pretty sure that the name of her village is Kokoyashi Village. So you can see there, all 3 of these are designed by xnellynelx, I believe. Reveal the top card of the master plan deck. You may place it on the bottom. So that's that one there. Now I think Ghost of Village is in the same spot. This is the one I'm not 100% sure of if it's from the same storyline. But this is a hazardous location. You must discard 1 action token or flip your most recent hero card in the storyline face down. So that's a nasty one there. And then this is Belmir's grave, so it ties in with Belmir's house there as well. So you may discard 1 card from your hand to the bottom of your deck to rescue all civilians in this location. So quite cool. Anyway, so those are all the ones that go together with Arlong, and that's the pirate fishman Arlong. So let's have a look at the next villain. All right, so here we have this is Boa Hancock. Now, Boa, I think, let's think. Chronologically, I think Crocodile actually would come next in the story, but I figured, well, if I'm showing off, I've shown off a couple of xnellynelx's designs. I showed off Arlong just before. That was one of my designs, so I may as well show you my last design there, and then we'll finish off with Helios 23's design at the end there. But let's have a look at old Boa here. So again, she's designed by myself, and she's kind of very tied to her location. Again, as a villain as well. So let's have a look here. We have, you'll notice that she's got 6, 9, and 12 health, but you'll see that she doesn't actually use health as such, and that's why there's this symbol at the bottom here as well. But let's check out the back here. So we've got, she's the pirate Empress. She's very sort of aloof character, and this is her in her villainous form, where she's a big sort of big shot warlord of the sea, and she's really, though, she's basically, all she's doing is trying to protect her home island, and that's what I've got the whole scenario set up around, is her basically trying to keep others out from her island and keep herself separate. So if we have a look at this special setup, do not place any health tokens on Boa Hancock's dashboard. So even though she's got the values there, you don't place any health tokens on the dashboard. And then also set the maiden island location aside, so you never use that one to start with. And then you place it out of play. Then place the threat cards with the Calm Belt Seas side face up in each location. So this is something where the threat cards don't have a threat card back. They're sort of double-sided cards, so that you use both sides, and you start with them on the Calm Belt Seas side. Okay, so if we have a look here, then she's got, when a hero is KO'd, Boa Hancock doesn't activate her BAM. Instead, she plays another master plan card face down in the storyline. Boa Hancock cannot be dealt damage by any means, and this is sort of making it clear that you don't actually attack her. That's why she's got no health on here. Okay, and she also just is one of those characters that races out the clock with the extra BAMs. Sorry, instead of the extra BAMs, I should say, when she KOs. Once 2 missions are complete, and the Gorgon sisters are defeated, heroes may spend heroics at Maiden Island or in Boa Hancock's location to place charm tokens on the dashboard. So essentially what you have to do is, just like a normal game, you have to complete 2 missions, but you also additionally have to have defeated the Gorgon sisters. Okay, and once you've done that, then the heroes essentially have made Boa, for all intents and purposes, vulnerable, and that's when you can use heroics instead of attacks to try and win her over. So you've discovered her island, and you're basically trying to charm the Amazons, or charm her to be on your side, sort of thing. So that's the idea with her. And you'll see over here, heroic goal: the heroes win when there are charm tokens equal to Boa Hancock's health on the villain dashboard, and that's what this is all about. So you stack the charm tokens on here, and you're trying, so instead of knocking them down to 0, you're trying to build them up to whatever value you've got here based on your player count. Yeah, so that's how that goes there. So we'll have a look here now. We'll have a look at this we'll have a look at this word in a second. But the BAM here, her BAM is place a petrification token in Boa Hancock's location and deal a damage to a hero there. So wherever she lands and does a BAM, she places a petrification token down, and she does a damage. Then she also moves each hero 1 location away from Maiden Island if possible, which essentially is, if they're already as far away as possible, they don't move, and also if you haven't discovered Maiden Island yet, then obviously you can't be moved further away from it. So let's take a pause here. Well, actually, let's have a quick look here. If 1 or more civilians or thugs can't be added to a location, play another master plan card face down in the storyline. So that's just tying in with that effect there. But let's have a look at what this petrification token means. Okay, so here we have the petrification tokens. I think you actually only need 3 of them, but there's a spare one there if you need it. But you can see here these Navy soldiers being turned to stone. So that's what she does. She basically sort of turns you to stone with her love powers. She's basically so beautiful that you basically get turned to stone, apparently. So that's how that works. And here we have a little rules card here. So this just comes along with her cards here, petrification, and we've got some rules here. Any civilian or thug in locations with a petrification token cannot be removed by any means. Okay, so that's the sort of main effect, is when these get played down in a location, you basically can't affect the tokens there on that spot. So you're sort of locked out from that location, so you have to sort of go elsewhere to try and reach your quotas. And also she can, with other effects, deal petrification tokens to heroes. So if she does deal one to a hero, then that hero must play their cards face down in the storyline, or their card face down in the storyline, during turns when they still have one of these. Now, petrification tokens are discarded at the beginning of the villain turn. So when she starts her next turn, you get rid of these. So depending on the number of heroes and the cycle of heroes that are having their turns, you can be sort of lumped with a petrification token, I think for 2 turns if you're unlucky. So that's how she works with those petrification tokens. Let's now have a look at her threats. Okay, so she actually has 6 threat cards that all have the same back here, which is this Calm Belt Sea. So these get put all around the board, and you'll see here, when this threat is cleared, place this location's threat tokens, a threat token on the mission card as normal. So you can still essentially go around and clear these for the mission of clearing threats, and you'll notice there's no real bad effect, there's no sort of detrimental effect, apart from the fact that these are just covering spaces up and you're running around looking for this specific one location, and they actually require movement plus a little bit of heroics to get through, because the idea is the Calm Belt Seas, you really can't rely on the wind to get through with your sail, so you have to find other ways to travel. Now, one of the things about the Calm Belt is it's also full of Sea Kings. So this is what you're going to turn up most of the time when you explore in the Calm Belt Seas. You're going to run into these Sea Kings. They have 4 health. They have a BAM effect which deals 2 damage to one hero in the location. But they are also ornery, and they sort of fighting and running around all the time, battling each other. So essentially what you can do is you can open up multiple of these locations and let them duke it out themselves. So they deal 2 damage to henchmen, which essentially are Sea Kings, in each adjacent location. Now, if you can be the one who defeats them, though, you gain a wild token when you defeat this henchman. So you can let them duke it out, but if you don't do anything to help, then you're not going to get rewarded with the wild token. You essentially eat them, because Luffy likes eating Sea Kings. He's always beating them up, and then the next scene they're being cooked by Sanji. So that's the idea, is that you run into these. So you're exploring the calm seas, looking for Maiden Island, and most of the time you're running into these. So there's 5 of those, and then the last one here, or hopefully the first one if you're if you're lucky, the Gorgon Sisters. Now let's have a look at the Gorgon Sisters. They have 4 health, and when this henchman is revealed, replace its location with Maiden Island, retaining any tokens. So you essentially replace your whatever location that you find this at with the Maiden Island. But, you know, whatever state it's in with tokens and things, you leave that the same. Then any hero that ends their turn in this location is dealt 2 damage. They don't actually have a ban because of the way the game works, and you tend to get pushed away from Maiden Island, and the timing of that. You generally are not in their location for them to deal damage to you, so I decided to sort of have this effect anyway. So any hero that ends their turn in this location is dealt 2 damage. I think that makes sense. Anyway, we'll see. Now, gain 2 wild tokens when you defeat this henchman. So if you can defeat this one, you gain 2 wild tokens. And they are a henchman, so they can be attacked by the Sea Kings as well. So if you don't get in there close enough, they can get you. So that's these guys. But the main thing is they also allow you to trigger the Maiden Island, and they are also a prerequisite. You need to have defeated these guys, or these guys need to be defeated for you to be able to start working on the heroic goal. So that's that one. Okay, let's have a look. Speaking of Maiden Island, let's have a look at this now. So it's got 5 empty spots here, because you're essentially going to be discovering it, and I've put 5 locations just to match the fact that depending on what location you discover it can be up to 5 locations. So you might have 5 tokens on there that you need to place on there. It has this ability here, which is you may discard 1 civilian or thug in an adjacent location. So essentially the Amazons are sort of fighting them off for you. So there you go. So that's that one there. But the main thing is, this is the location where if you are in this location, you can be placing heroics on here to sort of try and charm the Amazons that are there. All right. So, and another one, just to just chuck this in while we're talking about related location. This is Rusukaina, I think it's called, or Rusukaina, and this is a location that's just sort of in the same area in the Calm Belt. So this says thugs in this location require 2 to defeat, because it's basically full of monsters. And then if you spent your entire turn though in this location and you don't move away, then you gain 2 wild tokens, because essentially it's a good place to do training against these big monsters. I won't say any more than that for spoilers, but yeah, good place to do some training. Alright, if we have a look at her master plan cards, these are her sort of special ones here, and these are variations on her Love Beam or Love Fruit powers. So we've got the Pistol Kiss here, which is give a petrification token to 1 hero in her location. So she's essentially, and she moves to the next location with any hero. So she's looking for heroes, and then she gives one of them a petrification token. And she's got 2 of those. She also has the wide-ranging one, so she stands her ground and she fires off the slave arrow. Place a petrification token in Boa Hancock's location and each adjacent location. Any heroes in these locations lose all their action tokens as well. So she affects all the locations with the petrification tokens there, or all the ones next to her and in her own one, but she also removes your action tokens there as well. So that's the slave arrow, so she's got those two. And then the rest of her cards are pretty much her moving around and bamming. Putting petrification tokens in her own location, pushing you away from the maiden island and that sort of thing. But she's also got just a couple of these ones here that have moved clockwise to the next location with any hero. So these ones guarantee that she's going to hit someone pretty much. She's going straight for them. And the rest, she's just sort of doing some regular movement and hoping that she connects there. So she's got a bunch of bams there. And you can see, again, different variations of her token drops there as well. She doesn't drop a huge amount of tokens there. Sort of some, she's got a lot where she only drops 3. So that's how she operates. Alright, Crocodile himself. So this is a Helios 23 design. He's coming in with, let's have a look, 5, 7 and 10 health there depending on your player count. And he does have a little bit of special setup here. It's just such a cool, I like the colour design, the colour choice here has been really cool. But let's not get distracted. Now you notice that I didn't have the supervillain things here. I sort of hadn't worked out how to sort of work out what tokens you would put in there. So feel free to sort of play against my versions with supervillain mode and maybe make up your own starting tokens based on what you think is fair. But here are Helios's versions for Crocodile. Now let's check out, he's one of the 7 Warlords of the Sea. He's got special setup here. Set aside the 6 Rebellion tokens. Once placed, they cannot be removed by any abilities or effects. Okay, so that's important to know. And I'll give you a look at those. Oh, you know what? I realized I didn't show you the charm tokens for Boa Hancock. So when I find the what are they? Resistance tokens, Rebellion tokens. I'll grab those other ones too. Let's have a quick look at those now. All right, so let's have a look. We've got the Rebellion tokens here. These stony fists there. I hope I'm holding them so you can see them right. Yep. And then we have our these are our charm tokens for Boa Hancock there. So apologies I didn't show those before. All right, let's get into Crocodile though. So let's have a look here. He's got his special rules. When Crocodile's damage specifies anything, so he refers to this anything quite a bit, it targets in the following order. So hero first, so you look to see can it hit a hero or can it target a hero, then do that. If not, then go for a civilian. If not that, then a thug and then a henchman. So it targets in that order. When a hero is KO'd, Crocodile doesn't activate his BAM. Instead, he plays another Master Plan card. Seems to be a common theme throughout these One Piece villains. Now, however, his overflow doesn't do that. It says if one or more civilians or thugs can't be added to a location, Crocodile gains a health. And that's quite nasty. I've played against him and he had some quite high health at the end. Yeah, so he's pretty nasty. Let's have a look at his BAM. So he gains 2 health. So not only is he gaining health, we want to make sure we're stopping him from overflowing because he can be gaining health, but he just automatically gets 2 health when he bams, so that's really nasty. And essentially his powers, by the way, I didn't mention it, he basically can turn himself to sand, so he's quite elusive. Then deal 2 damage to each hero or anything in Crocodile's location. So he's dealing 1 damage to each hero, but if there's no hero there, then you go through this. So if not a hero, then civilian, then thug, then henchman. So he can actually be damaging, his own guys essentially, but he will try and go for the good guys first. All right, and then let's have a look at his villainous plot. The heroes lose when all 6 locations have rebellion tokens. So he places these rebellion tokens around the board. He's trying to instigate this chaos in the Alabaster region, but there's not much you can do about it. Once he gets them out there, you can't sort of remove them. You just have to sort of try and take him out before he can get them all down. So it's not like regular crisis tokens where sometimes you have a bit of agency and sort of like removing them and sort of fighting back a little bit. All right, so that's his dashboard. Now let's have a look at his threats. He has this wasteland, which sort of represents the environment sort of around him in Alabaster here. So big deserts essentially. So heroes using movement to leave this location must take 1 damage, or use 2 movement instead. So you can choose to sort of escape pretty quickly, but you're going to take damage doing it, otherwise you've got to slow down. So that requires you 3 heroics to clear. We also have another couple of cards here in a set that require heroics to clear, and this represents his organization called Baroque Works. Now, if I remember correctly, I think they're an organization of, are they bounty hunters? I'm not sure. Or just like hitmen or something. But they are, this sort of affects the tokens here. So as long as this threat is in play, any rescued civilians or defeated thugs are discarded instead of being placed on the mission card. So this represents you being sort of thwarted by this big secretive sort of clandestine organization, and preventing you from sort of making any progress. So you've got to clear these to make any progress on these. And this is, so as long as this threat is in play, any rescued civilians or defeated thugs are discarded. This isn't just on this location, it's anywhere, so you really do have to get rid of these if you're going for those missions, which you will need to. And then these are some of the top dogs in the Baroque Works itself. So we've got Mr. 1 and Mr. 3, and funnily enough, there's a character that Helios has designed, Mr. 2, who is a hero, and his name is Bon Clay, and I think we've seen him before. I'll definitely feature him again when I redo those hero videos, but he's quite a fun one as well. But let's have a look at Mr. 1 here, Daz Bones. He's got 5 health. He's got a BAM effect here, which is deal 2 damage to a hero with in this location and discard a civilian from adjacent locations without hero. So he's beating up all the civilians. And it also says here he cannot be damaged by any of Crocodile's attacks. So when Crocodile's running around actually doing damage to anything, it cannot be Daz Bones. He's ignored for that. So because he's quite tough and he's high up in the organization, being Mr. 1. Then we have now Galdino. He's quite a fun one as well. This he sort of reappears a few times in the show, and he's quite funny. We've got 4 health with him, and he is coming in with a BAM that does 1 damage to each hero in this location. He basically uses candle wax to sort of coat people in. If there are no heroes in this location, deal 1 damage to each hero in adjacent locations, so he can hit you pretty far. So yeah, he's pretty nasty as well. Those are the bad guys. So I think probably the nastiest one there is that I don't know, they're all pretty nasty, but the fact that you've got to get through these just so you can sort of start working on the civilians and the thugs is quite tricky. I remember that being a bit of a tall order when playing against Crocodile. So let's have a look at his master plan cards. Alright, so he's got quite a few unique or very special master plan cards. So he's got 3 of these cards that start with the word desert. So let's have a look at these. He's got movement 4 here, Desert Cutlass. A little bit of token droppage there, but deal 1 damage to anything in Crocodile's location. If a hero is targeted by this, they are moved 1 location clockwise, so he sort of pushes them. So he's got that one. He's also got Desert Sunflower here, bit of a Post Malone fan. He's got 3 movement. He's got deal 1 damage to anything in Crocodile's location. If this location does not have a threat in play, place a wasteland threat there. So he can bring that back. So, don't like it. Then he dumps more sand, I guess. We've got a 0 movement here with the Desert Prison. Deal 2 damage to anything in this location. If a hero is targeted by this, they may play their next hero card face down, and Crocodile gains a health. Oh, sorry, it doesn't say they may. They play their next... I was going to say that. Why would you... They play their next hero card face down, and Crocodile gains a health. And there you go. You can see the token drops there as well. So, yeah, none of those sound particularly nice, do they? He's also then got 2 of these. So these are the same name. Let's have a look at these. So this is Sandstorm Burden. He comes in with moving to the next location with no rebellion token and places 1 there. So he's sort of automatically getting to progress his agenda there. Deal 1 damage to anything in this location. in his location, then deal 2 damage to anything in the adjacent location counterclockwise, and then you guessed it, 3 damage to anything in the next counterclockwise location after that. So he sort of sends this big hit out that sort of gets bigger and bigger as it goes. And then he's got the same effect, but I believe it goes the other way with this one. So Sandstorm Burden, deal 1 damage to anything in Crocodile's location, then 2 damage to anything in the location clockwise, and then 3 damage to anything in the next location clockwise after that. So, and again, he moves directly to a spot with no rebellion token and places 1 there. These two, you want to be on the you want to be out of the way of these ones because they hit quite hard. So, and then he's also got this final sort of unique one here, which is Wasteland Tremor. So he's moving 3, deal 2 damage to anything in this location, and and 1 damage to anything in adjacent locations. All right, so those are his unique ones. And if we have a look then at the rest of his cards, he's got some token droppers and some BAMs there, and you'll notice there's a little bit of movement here, but look at this, he's got 1, 2, 3, and 4 with the text effects here. And if we have a look, move to the next location with no rebellion token and place 1, rebellion token and place 1 there, rebellion token, yep, rebellion token, and so he's got 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. And if we go through here, he's got 1, 2 of those there as well. So he's got the 6 cards there in his master plan deck that allow him just to drop those down, and if all 6 come out, then it is not looking good. And I just thought I'd show you as well, there's a whole range of Alabaster themed location that Helios has come up with as well. So we have, that's not supposed to be there. It's the right secret base. Put that away. That's for later. That's a Cameron Hodge thing. But let's have a look. Let's start with Rain Base, because this is Crocodile's like base of operations in Alabaster here. Any villain or henchman in this location ignores 1 damage per hero turn, and you can see it's token banks here, and then you may discard up to 2 cards from your hand. That's quite a lot if you're going that hard, and then draw the same number of cards. Okay, so then it does not KO you, so it lets you essentially cycle. So that's pretty cool. And then there's a bunch here. So we've got Alubana. If a hero in this location rescues more than 1 civilian here during their turn, they can take a damage, and you may swap a card from your hand with one of your face-up cards in the storyline. You've also got a similar one here. If a hero in this location defeats more than 1 thug here during your turn, they take a damage. You may add 2 thugs in this location to gain 1 wild token, and you can see here this is the Sandora River. Okay, then we have Tamarisk, and this is if you have less than 3 cards in hand, you may draw a card. And we have Yuba. See if I can get the tokens in there. There we go. You may rescue 1 civilian from this location. You'd be lucky for them to be any there. There's not much space for them. You've got Katoria, I think it is, or Katoria. You may flip 1 civilian to thug in this location to gain a punch token. And then we have Eramalu, and this is got a little bit of tokens there. And then if there is a civilian in this location, you must move it to an adjacent location. And 2 more, we've got Little Garden. Now this is not actually in Alabaster, I guess, but it's a fun one. It's where these couple of big giants are living. At the end of each villain turn, 1 thug must be added to this location, and you may discard 1 card from your hand to the bottom of your deck to gain a movement and a punch token. And over here we have, you may discard 1 card from your hand to the bottom of your deck to gain a wild token, or heal 1 other hero in this location 1 health. And this is Nandhana or Nanohana, I'm not sure. And then you've got the tokens there. So there's a whole bunch of alabaster themed locations there. So Helios has really done a great job. Sorry, Helios 23 has done a great job really sort of fleshing that out. So if you want to play against Crocodile there, you've got a big bank of locations that can really make you feel like you're playing that whole storyline. So fantastic. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope I've done a better job showing off these great villains that Helios 23 and xnellynelx have worked on, and even the couple of villains that they've sort of helped inspire me to make as well. So hopefully that gives you a good sense of just how much great stuff there is out there for the One Piece United fan-made stuff, and you know, definitely go check it out on Marvel United Discord, and yeah, print them out and have a go and have some fun with them. And like I said, there's that little competition going on, so you can get some of these figures. I think it's Onepi No Mi or something like that. I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce it, but they're these little figures that come from Japan, which you can get in these sort of like little collector ball sort of things, and I've got a bunch of spare ones, so I'm sort of basically just sort of sending those away. So here we have Crocodile. So if you like the sound of that Crocodile mission, we definitely have a Crocodile model there, and if you don't have models for these, you can always proxy them, I guess. But yeah, if you're interested in this, you can get some sent to you if you enter that comp and get lucky enough and win. So like I said, there's one lucky person has responded to the survey, so at the moment, unless anyone else jumps on board, they're definitely taking out first prize. So but yeah, definitely check that out. Like I said before in the previous video, if you're not sorry, if you get any comments in this video asking, you know, that look like they're from me asking for money or anything like that, that won't be me. Totally will send these free of charge. You won't even have to pay postage, even if it's international. Don't worry about that. So yeah, if you feel like getting lucky with these little models and you like the look of them, yeah, jump on board that. But yeah, well, thank you very much. Like I said, I'll be back with some remakes of the original video, so I'll show off those heroes, hopefully a little bit better than I did the last time. Hopefully you enjoyed this video a bit better. Hopefully this was better quality, a little bit more organized, hopefully, and made a bit more sense. So as always, a little bit rambly from my end, but hopefully it was a little bit better. Anyway, well, thank you guys. Lots of great stuff coming from plenty of people all over the Marvel United community, whether it's the official game coming out. Definitely looking forward to that Spider-Geddon stuff, whether it's the painters on the Meeple Monkey Facebook community group, or the Marvel United Discord, or the Facebook group as well. Whether it's all the different homebrewers out there, Dave and Kanji, Helios 23, xnellynelx, Norlith, and plenty more that I'm probably forgetting there, but definitely lots of stuff to check out. So you know, keep having fun and happy gaming. Thanks guys. Meeple Monkey out. See ya.